On the afternoon of December 20th, 2021, 3-year-old Lina Sardar Khil was playing outside her family's apartment in San Antonio, Texas, along with other children. Her mother looked away for just a brief moment, and Lina vanished. This is a deeply tragic story and a stark warning for anyone who has young kids. Lina Sardar Khil was born on February 20th, 2008, in a city in Afghanistan's Khost province. She is the daughter of Riaz and Zarmina Sardar Khil. According to sources, Lina's grandfather was an Afghan military commander who was killed in an ambush in 2009. Her father, Riaz, followed in his footsteps, serving in the Afghan armed forces between 2013 and 2019. During that time, he worked alongside American troops and served as a team leader within the country's security forces. In a later interview, he described his job as highly bureaucratic, involving a great deal of paperwork. Even so, his work made him a target of persecution, along with his family. In 2019, the Sardar Khil family obtained visas and left their home country, Afghanistan, to move to the United States. This move reportedly took place due to the threats the family had been receiving in Afghanistan. Riaz believed relocating to the United States would keep them safer. The family settled in the San Antonio area in the state of Texas. They moved into an apartment complex near the medical center area. The complex is known as Villas del Cabo, and the surrounding neighborhood is home to thousands of Afghan refugees who have arrived there over the years. After settling in San Antonio, Riaz began working as a rideshare driver. Later, he took on truck driving jobs, doing everything within his reach to provide for his family. While Riaz worked outside the home, his wife Zarmina became a homemaker, caring for their eldest daughter Lena and their second child, a young boy. In 2021, Zarmina became pregnant with the couple's third child, another boy. That same year, the family began planning a trip to Afghanistan to visit relatives. However, Riaz decided not to go due to security concerns, as he was the primary target of the threats. As a result, Zarmina traveled with the children, who went to visit her parents. In August of that year, the United States abruptly began withdrawing from Afghanistan, following an agreement signed the previous year. As the sudden withdrawal unfolded, thousands of people crowded Kabul airport, desperately trying to board one of the last flights out of the country. Zarmina, Lena, and Lena's younger brother were among them, when a rebel detonated an explosive device near the airport gates, killing more than 100 Afghans and 13 U.S. soldiers. Lena was among the injured, losing consciousness due to the blast that killed or wounded hundreds of people. Fortunately, she regained consciousness shortly afterward and escaped with her mother and brother to a relative's nearby home. Not long after, they were evacuated by U.S. authorities and reunited with Riaz in Texas. Despite the trauma the family endured during the attack, life eventually returned to normal in San Antonio. Lena, just 3 years old, was beginning to develop her personality. Her family described her as a cheerful and playful child who loved to play, watch YouTube videos, and help take care of her younger brother. She also loved playing with the other children in the apartment complex, something she did almost every day. On the afternoon of December 20th, 2021, a Monday, Lena was taken by her mother to the playground in the apartment complex courtyard, where several other families had gathered. This was nearly a daily routine for the family. Lena would join the other children, running and playing, while her mother, Zarmina, sat in the central common area with other caregivers, many of whom were mothers and members of the local Afghan community. 4 months pregnant at the time, Zarmina tried to keep an eye on both Lena and her younger brother as they moved around the small playground, often running through the courtyard and between the apartment buildings. At around 5 p.m., Zarmina lost sight of Lena for a brief period. Initial reports claimed that Lena had returned to the family's apartment to get a bottle of water, but later accounts stated that Lena was running with other children and went around a nearby building, out of her mother's line of sight. However, when the other children reappeared on the opposite side of the building, Lena was no longer with them. It is difficult to determine the exact origin of this information due to the language barrier, as the family speaks Pashto. In any case, the official police report later stated that at approximately 5:40 p.m., Lena's mother looked away for a brief moment and was unable to find her again. When Lena did not return, Zarmina assumed she had gone back to the family's apartment and went to look for her there. Unable to find her, Zarmina began hoping that Lena might have gone to the home of another Afghan family they knew and contacted her husband Riaz, asking for help in finding their daughter. Riaz was about a mile away visiting a friend and rushed home to assist in the search for Lena. As the minutes passed with no sign of her, the family began to fear the worst. Police were called at approximately 7:15 p.m., a little over an hour and a half after Lena disappeared from the area in front of the apartment complex. Officers arrived and began searching the entire complex that night, continuing the effort over the following days. An Amber Alert for Lena was issued around 10 p.m., notifying the public of her description and the location from which she had gone missing, near Fredericksburg Road. In the Amber Alert, authorities could not confirm that Lena had been abducted, but stated that they believed she was in grave danger. Lena, who was 3 years old at the time, was described as being approximately 4 feet tall and weighing around 55 pounds, with straight brown, shoulder-length hair that was tied back in a ponytail when she disappeared. She was last seen wearing a red dress, along with a black jacket and black shoes. In the days that followed, the San Antonio Police Department led the search for the missing 3-year-old, expanding the investigation beyond the apartment complex itself to the surrounding area, and using scent-tracking dogs in an effort to locate Lena's trail. Officers went door to door throughout the complex, searching for any sign of her in closets, vehicles, and trash containers. Police were seen recording license plate numbers of residents' vehicles and others in the area, as well as reviewing surveillance footage from nearby businesses and even home doorbell cameras. Authorities treated the case as a missing person investigation, identifying several persons of interest, but were unable to find specific evidence of a crime. This led to some debate over whether investigators believed the case involved an abduction, a topic that will be explored in more detail later. From the outset, San Antonio Police Chief William McManus was a constant presence in the case, speaking to the media and the public on multiple occasions. He initially stated that in the first hours after Lena's disappearance, they acted quickly. They had FBI resources available and searched everything they could, from residents' closets to dumpsters.
Right now, we have a K-9 teams that are out looking for her right now. They're running the green belts between here and and 410, and hopefully maybe we'll come up with something. But we continue to interview people. We continue to have police officers on scene across the street. But we really have no new updates as to where Lena might be.
Every apartment in the complex was searched more than once, and cadaver dogs were also deployed, covering a wide area throughout the apartment complex. The day after Lena's disappearance, Tuesday, December 21st, her parents were questioned by detectives. Meanwhile, officers continued to comb the area surrounding the complex, interviewing residents as they came and went. Many were asked to allow police to search their homes and vehicles and to provide an alibi for their whereabouts during the previous afternoon and evening. Families who had been at the playground that Monday afternoon were asked to describe anything or anyone they had seen near the apartment complex that day. Search teams were organized to sweep the wooded area near the complex, and a helicopter was deployed to survey the area from above. Unfortunately, authorities and volunteers were unable to find any trace of the missing child. 2 days after Lena's disappearance, San Antonio Police Chief William McManus admitted that the more time passed, the less hope they had. McManus requested assistance from the FBI, asking them to deploy their Child Abduction Rapid Deployment (CARD) team to help recover Lena. Meanwhile, Lena's father, Riaz, became the family's spokesperson in the media, speaking publicly on multiple occasions, always accompanied by a translator, as Pashto is his native language and his English is limited. In one of his earliest interviews, he broke down in tears when asked what he missed most about Lena. The community where the Sardar Khil family had settled rallied around them during this difficult time, providing Riaz and his wife with support and resources they might not otherwise have had. Through this network of support, they were able to raise a substantial reward for information that could lead authorities to Lena. The reward initially began at $75,000 and quickly grew, combined with an additional $50,000 offered by San Antonio Crime Stoppers. Eventually, the reward surpassed $250,000, largely due to a substantial contribution from the Islamic Center of San Antonio. From the very beginning, authorities appeared to believe that Lina Sardar Khil was in danger. For that reason, the original Amber Alert stated that she was in grave or imminent danger. However, as the search expanded beyond the apartment complex, police were unable to find any evidence of a crime, meaning there was no direct proof that Lina had been abducted. Instead, it was as if she had simply vanished into thin air. There was an unexplained 18-minute gap in surveillance footage, and based on what investigators found, they could not state with certainty that Lina was abducted during that window. This seemingly left open the possibility that she may have disappeared in some other way, such as wandering off into nearby wooded areas. That said, by choosing not to officially classify Lina's disappearance as a kidnapping, police were reportedly able to access additional resources to assist in the case. At least that was what authorities later stated. The Missing Persons Unit was working the case alongside the Special Victims Unit. Both units were working in coordination with the FBI, with the Special Victims Unit handling much of the field work and the Missing Persons Unit overseeing and coordinating the overall effort. However, this hybrid approach did not appear to be any more effective than a conventional investigation, as Police Chief William McManus later acknowledged in an interview. He said the case was deeply puzzling and that he had never encountered a situation where someone simply vanished. According to him, they had no leads at all, no indication of where Lina might be or what could have happened to her. He stated that he had never seen anything like it. Although there is still no concrete evidence that Lina Sardar Khil was abducted, this remains the prevailing theory in the case. It also appears to be the only plausible explanation, as it is unlikely that she wandered off into the small wooded areas nearby or fell victim to a natural predator. In San Antonio, the only animals capable of such an attack would be coyotes, which are not commonly seen in large numbers in that part of the city and would likely have left significant physical evidence behind. There was also a theory that Lina may have been swept into a storm drain or similar structure during flash flooding, but the fact remains that there was no rain that day. Still, while abduction remains the leading theory in this case, other theories do exist. Some believe that Lina's abduction was likely premeditated, while others think it may have been a random act carried out by someone with no prior connection to Lina or her family. Those who believe the kidnapping was planned argue that Lina likely went willingly with someone familiar, someone she had seen before or had some prior contact with. Abel Pina, a retired FBI agent who runs Project Absentis, a San Antonio-based support group for missing persons, said it is likely that Lina left voluntarily in the presence of someone she may have known. She may have been accompanied by one or more individuals, but what happened afterward remains unknown. Abel Pina became involved in the case through the Absentis project and played a direct role in coordinating 2 composite sketches. These sketches were created by Lois Gibson, the legendary forensic artist of the Houston Police Department. Gibson worked from the account of a witness who claimed to have seen Lina walking with 2 men on the afternoon she disappeared. The sketches were described as depicting one dark-skinned man and one lighter-skinned man with Afghan features. After viewing the sketches, Lina's family said they recognized the Afghan man, but believed he had nothing to do with the disappearance. However, they were unable to identify the dark-skinned man. While this may suggest evidence of a premeditated abduction, others continue to believe that Lina's disappearance may have been a random, spontaneous act. They hold to this theory because this type of kidnapping is typically harder to solve, as there is no specific connection between the abductor and the victim. This difficulty is compounded when there are no witnesses to the crime, as was the case here. No one appears to have seen anyone take Lina out of the apartment complex, leaving open the possibility that someone may have been waiting in the parking area where Lina had been running with the other children, simply waiting for them to disperse in order to take advantage of the situation. The Amber Alert for Lina Sardar Khil was discontinued in early January 2022, but the investigation into her disappearance continued, led by the San Antonio Police Department with ongoing cooperation from the FBI. That same month, just weeks after Lina vanished, San Antonio police were seen alongside an elite FBI dive team, the Evidence Response Team Underwater Search Unit, searching a creek near the apartment complex. The search took place less than 3 kilometers from where Lina disappeared, though authorities cautioned the public against jumping to conclusions. The FBI's underwater search ended without any conclusive findings, leading to an expansion of the search area for 3-year-old Lena, whose 4th birthday was approaching in February. Police continued to appeal to the public, urging anyone with relevant information to come forward, no matter how small it might seem. Over the months following her disappearance, numerous speculations and theories emerged about what may have happened to Lena. Some of these theories went so far as to accuse Lena's own family of being involved in her disappearance and even in her possible death. Many people criticized Zarmina, claiming that she allowed a 3-year-old child to run around the apartment complex without proper supervision. Some portrayed her as irresponsible, suggesting this was something she did routinely. Others went even further, accusing the family of having killed Lena and hidden her body. There were even more absurd claims. Some speculated that the family was facing financial difficulties and had decided to sell the child for a large sum of money. Authorities never found any evidence indicating that the family was directly involved in Lena's disappearance. The case was thoroughly investigated, and had there been any wrongdoing on the family's part, it would almost certainly have come to light. The year following Lena's disappearance, her family received a tip claiming that she had been seen alive in the state of Oklahoma. This brought renewed hope that she might one day return home, but the information has never been confirmed. Police have continued to provide occasional updates to the public, though very few have contained any substantial new information. As time passed, Lena's family began to express frustration with law enforcement, stating as early as April 2023 that no new information was being shared with them. That same month, Riaz and his wife agreed to undergo polygraph tests in hopes of clearing themselves as suspects and putting an end to the speculation surrounding them. They also began publicly calling for new investigators to take over the case, a request that was denied by the San Antonio Police Department. Since then, they have worked with other organizations that helped organize searches and public awareness events. As previously mentioned, they began collaborating with Project Absentis, a local organization led by a retired FBI agent, which started conducting a more in-depth independent investigation into the case. During its investigation, Project Absentis discovered that a resident of the same apartment complex where Lena lived with her family had been arrested in September 2022, less than a year after her disappearance, for possession of illegal child-related material with intent to distribute. The organization did not release the individual's name, as he was not charged in connection with Lena's case, but stated that he was someone known to the family. For that reason, he remains one of the most prominent publicly known leads. 2 years after the case began, in December 2023, the family once again appealed to the public for information, holding public events in hopes of bringing renewed attention to Lena's case. In February 2024, the San Antonio Police Department conducted a search in the northwest part of the city, between Auburn Creek and the Helix Apartments, at the intersection of Wurzbach and Blumel Roads, approximately 800 meters from where Lena disappeared. Residents in the area reported seeing police officers accompanied by an unidentified young man wearing a Bexar County jumpsuit, indicating that he was a detainee from the local jail. It was later revealed that this individual had been arrested for serious crimes involving a minor and, according to reports, had lived in the same apartment complex at the time of Lena's disappearance. Over the following 2 days, police carried out an extensive search of the wooded area using a backhoe, searching a locked shed, and deploying ground-penetrating radar. However, no substantial evidence was reportedly found during the search, and police later classified the tip as not credible. Detectives appeared to believe that the detainee had fabricated information in an attempt to gain additional phone privileges. Despite the hope that this search might finally bring Lena's family answers about what happened to her, this marked the most recent known update in the case. To this day, Lena's family continues to live with the pain of her disappearance. In March 2024, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children released an age progression image showing what Lena might look like at 6 years old. More recently, the Sardar Khil family increased the reward for information leading to Lena's whereabouts to $280,000, most of it raised by the family themselves and the Afghan community in San Antonio. As of now, the case of Lina Sardar Khil remains unsolved. If you are watching this and have any information that could help the investigation, please contact the number shown on the screen. You can also submit information through the website displayed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.